When the world first goes quiet, it doesn't feel dramatic. It feels confusing. You stand there trying to understand why the hum of your home has disappeared, why the fridge is silent, why the streetlights outside look like empty poles, why your phone refuses to light up no matter how many times you press the screen. It's not just your house. It's not just your neighborhood. The entire grid has gone dark, and in that moment, you can almost sense the world holding its breath. Most people won't understand the danger until several days pass. That's the strange part. The real panic doesn't begin when the lights go out. It begins when the water slows to a trickle and then stops completely. It begins when the toilets won't flush and the air starts to change. It begins when the grocery stores, once full of color and noise, turn into hollow rooms stripped of everything useful. And it begins when the friendly neighbor you've known for 10 years starts glancing at your pantry with a look you've never seen before. Very quickly, you're forced to decide which version of yourself will emerge, the one who adapts and stays focused, or the one who collapses and becomes someone else's cautionary tale told around a fire. You don't need a notebook to remember the early moments. Your mind will record them for you whether you want it to or not. At first, denial takes over. People reassure each other, convinced the electricity will return within a few hours. They cling to the idea that everything is temporary. But a complete blackout like this means the systems that keep life running have already failed. There are no pumps delivering water, no refrigeration keeping food from spoiling, no fuel flowing from the stations that once stayed open day and night. Your city is quietly dying, long before anyone notices the smell. The only thing that helps now is movement. You fill every container you can find with water, the bathtub, pots, pitchers, buckets, anything capable of holding liquid. You do it because the pressure in the pipes is already dropping, and once it hits zero, your taps become decorations. After a while, even the water that remains in those lines turns dangerous. Stagnant water turns hostile faster than most people expect, so from this point on, everything you drink must be boiled. Food becomes your next problem, and it no longer exists for comfort or pleasure. It becomes fuel. You take inventory of everything in your kitchen, starting with anything that will spoil first. Meat, dairy, vegetables. Everything needs to be cooked immediately because the cold that once protected them is gone. A gas stove might still work. A grill might still burn. Even a small fire in the backyard becomes a life-saving tool. You're not preparing meals. You're extending your timeline. Shelf-stable foods, rice, beans, pasta, canned meals, suddenly turn into treasures. You ration them because stress burns calories you never planned for. The nights are the hardest. Light becomes a bargaining chip. Candles burn low and threaten your safety if you fall asleep near them. Flashlights drain faster than you imagined. Batteries turn into currency. You use light sparingly, and you never allow your house to appear brighter than the world outside. In a silent neighborhood wrapped in darkness, the home with a glow becomes the home people investigate. By the next day, the silence in the streets changes. Phones have become useless, toilets no longer work. The smell of waste begins to cling to the air. The quiet is no longer peaceful. It feels like something waiting, something watching. Without running water, sanitation becomes as important as food. You improvise. You create a latrine far from any water source, covering every use with soil because the smallest mistake can turn into disease. You find substitutes for the things you once took for granted, cloth instead of paper, ash instead of soap, and you learn to wash your hands carefully because contamination spreads faster than panic. Your focus shifts once again to water. You are using more than you expected. Rain becomes a blessing, and you collect every drop you can. When the sky stays clear, you create a solar still from plastic and sunlight, slowly pulling moisture from the ground. Streams and ponds offer options, but they are never safe until filtered and boiled. Every drop requires caution now. If the blackout arrives during winter, the cold becomes another enemy. Your house turns into a refrigerator, and you choose one room to seal off and warm. You use blankets, towels, and whatever you can to trap heat. Sometimes you create a small fire indoors, but you do it carefully, always letting air in so the smoke does not poison you. Small tricks, like placing a terracotta pot over candles, provide just enough warmth to keep your thoughts clear. The early days separate those who adjust from those who falter. Then come the days that reveal the real threat: people. Supermarkets are empty. Some neighborhoods organize themselves. Others turn unpredictable. Rumors spread, promises that help is on the way, that the power will return, that the government or the military will restore order. You learn quickly not to depend on rumors. You reinforce your home, making it look abandoned rather than stocked. You secure your doors and windows, create simple noise traps to detect movement outside, and sleep lightly. You avoid drawing attention. You keep tools close, anything that can be used to protect yourself if you must. But you hope you will never need them. Communication becomes your last connection to the world. Phones are worthless, but radio waves live on. If you have a battery-powered radio, it becomes your lifeline. If you don't, you improvise with old parts, using the last traces of the world's technology to capture faint voices drifted across the air. Even the quiet crackle of a distant broadcast reminds you that humanity hasn't disappeared completely. Your food dwindles. Your body adapts. You grow slower but sharper, tired but focused. You begin hunting small animals if you can, setting simple snares, or fishing with nothing more than a bent pin and some string. You learn to forage, discovering which plants can keep you alive and which can kill you. Reaching the end of the week places you among the few who remain standing. Many people fall to illness, injury, or panic long before then. If you've made it this far, it means you have something most people never discover about themselves: the ability to endure. At this point, routine becomes your survival tool. You wake, eat, work, and rest at the same times each day because structure keeps your mind from unraveling. It gives you a sense of control when the world around you has none. Hope shifts from fantasy to practicality. The power may return someday. It may never return at all. You plan for both possibilities. You continue to ration food, filter every drop of water, guard your home carefully, and stay alert for any signal from the outside world. Humans have survived worse, and you remind yourself of that every day. A blackout doesn't kill because of darkness. It kills because of dehydration, hunger, disease, cold, and the mistakes people make when they are afraid. But once you understand the foundations, water, heat, food, security, you discover that chaos can be managed. It becomes something you can handle rather than something that owns you. 7 days can feel like a lifetime, but they are enough to reveal who you truly are. They separate the ones who endure from the ones who vanish into statistics. The grid is down, society is unraveling. Your phone is a lifeless slab and the world around you is dim. But you are still here. And if you can survive today, you can survive tomorrow too.